So a bit of a funny story as to how we came to do this station. So a couple of nights back I was in the chat of one of Simon Poe's live streams. He was up in Scotland for Model Rail Scotland, and I decided on a whim to just pop the question as to what station I should cover as part of this series.
Oh yeah, I was going to get back to filming Simply Strathclyde this weekend. Can you suggest a station for me to cover? Ooh, that's a good question. It's Dalreoch in Strathclyde. What about Dalreoch?
This is episode 8 of Simply Strathclyde.
There's no doubt about it, it's the easier way.
Dalreoch station sits on the far western end of the North Clyde Line and is the last station before the line splits into the separate branches towards Dalreoch and Helensburgh. The station was first opened back in 1850 by the Caledonian and Dunbartonshire Junction Railway. However, the railway itself very nearly never happened. You see, proposals to build a railway serving the town of Dumbarton were approved back in 1846, with services set to run into Glasgow Queen Street. However, these plans would fall through due to discrepancies with the Edinburgh and Glasgow Railway Company, who owned Queen Street. After some toing and froing, they managed to negotiate running services into a brand new terminus, what would become Buchanan Street. Unfortunately, while the railway had approval, one thing they didn't have was money. The financial situation for the company became so dire that they abandoned the idea to run into Glasgow entirely, and would instead only run it as far as Bowling. But even with the estimated costs reduced, they just weren't getting the funding, and those who had invested into the railway would eventually pull their support. It wouldn't be until a bit of help from these two, steamship tycoons George and James Burns, that the railway finally had the funding it needed to come together. Thus the line opened between Dalreoch and Bowling in 1850, from which passengers would transfer onto a steamship that would take them down the Clyde into the centre of Glasgow. 8 years later, in 1858, the Glasgow, Dumbarton and Helensburgh Railway would finally link the line up with Glasgow proper and give us the first section of what would become the North Clyde Line. If there's one thing Dalreoch should be known for, it's for offering the ability to capture unconventional yet striking views of trains in action. A short walk to the west will take you to this overbridge on Renton Road, where on one side you can capture trains either entering the station or leaving from the Dalreoch branch, whilst on the other you can see trains heading to and from Helensburgh disappear into the deep cutting towards the Dalreoch tunnels. Meanwhile, at the eastern end of the station, you can pop down onto the cycle path here, and you're given this excellent view of the railway bridge crossing the River Leven. In the right conditions, as was this day, it's an excellent spot to capture trains moving into and out of the station. Speaking of which, one interesting thing to note is that despite a river being in the way, the station is so close to nearby Dumbarton Central that if you stand at the bottom of platform 2, you can just about make out the station in the distance. Dalreoch's primary entrance is from the car park off Glasgow Road. However, for some strange reason, the footbridge on platform 1 also includes this sneaky set of stairs that lead to nothing? So I've just come down the two-sided staircase and into precisely bugger all. Honestly, I think this might be probably one of the least used entrances out of any station, because unless you work in any of the bits here, why else would you use it? The station has a building and ticket office that's supposed to be open between 6:30 and 8:30 Mondays to Saturdays. However, on this day, it wasn't open, and no, it wasn't a Sunday. Still though, if you need to buy a ticket, there's a machine inside this shelter on platform 1. The service pattern here is 4 trains per hour during the off-peak Mondays to Saturdays. 2 run between Helensburgh Central and Edinburgh, whilst the other 2 run between Dalreoch and Airdrie. However, after 8 PM, Dalreoch services terminate at Springburn. On Sundays, you still get 2 trains per hour between Helensburgh and Edinburgh, and 2 trains per hour to Balloch. However, they instead run on the Argyll line to Lark Hall once per hour, and to Motherwell via Whifflet once per hour. As for usage, in the year 2023-24 figures, Dalreoch station was used by 191,950 passengers, or an average of around 525 passengers per day, making it the least used of the 3 stations which serve the town of Dumbarton. And that's just about all you need to know about the ups and downs, ins and outs, past and present, about Dalreoch Station. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I know it's been a wee while, but as it starts to get warmer and brighter, I'll get back to doing more of these videos. But if you want to stay up to date with them, please make sure you subscribe and click the bell to be notified. And as per usual, please make sure to leave your suggestions for which stations I cover next as part of these series in the pinned comment down below. I will try and get a poll out about a week after this goes up, so keep your eyes peeled for that. With all that said and done, I've been David Ramsey, reporting from Dalreoch, and I'll see you in the next one.
Travel Strathclyde transport each and every day. No doubt about it, it's easy when